Hello again, everybody, and welcome to a new edition of You Bet CaneSport with Lee Sterling, our weekly look at the Miami Hurricanes from the betting perspective. I'm Gary Furman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined once again by Lee Sterling himself of ParamountSports.com, your headquarters for the greatest and latest of sports prognostications, really in every sport. Right now we're in football season, but Lee Sterling and Paramount Sports are a year-round enterprise, always there to help you out at a time of need when you're trying to make money in the world of sports betting. Not an easy thing to do. Lee, which brings me to this week's game. Not an easy game here. I mean, actually, we never even talked about the Cal game either. Like that one kind of snowballed on the Hurricanes and ended up being quite an affair. But let's start. Miami's playing a lot of close games lately. Life or death. Yet again, the last two games, but they got victories. And what does that mean as they head up to Louisville this weekend?
I think they need to play with the lead, Gary. You know, when you're coming from behind in games like Virginia Tech and Cal, eventually it's going to probably catch up to you. You're getting seems like best shots, and I like to see them play like they played Florida. You know, be very aggressive to start the game, and you know, obviously we don't want to sweat these games out, but probably going to have to sweat a few more out because the defensive secondary looks like a real weakness.
You know, it's funny you bring up the Florida game, because when I look at these, like, to me, this was a different looking team when they walked into Gainesville than what we've seen the last few weeks. And I don't have an explanation for it. I know it's not what Mario Cristobal wants. Obviously, they do not want these life or death comebacks from deficits and turning the ball over and making sloppy mental mistakes in the secondary and things like that. They had a players-only meeting trying to kind of refocus everybody, you know, because they really were very ready to play when they went to Gainesville. Is that what it's going to take to go into Louisville? You've watched Louisville all year long. You looked at them in the offseason. A quality team for sure that have struggled a little bit themselves in some, you know, games against tough opponents.
Yeah, well, they what Louisville's done is they've had a couple close games where they lost by a touchdown, and anywhere between 4, 5, 6 plays, they go their way. They probably win those games. You can make an argument they were the better team in those games, but it's experience. And like I said, they're going to get Miami's very best shot. Miami is going to have to – they're going to lose one of these close games. Trust me. I mean, you just don't keep pulling out. Yeah. I mean, even though the teams, it seems like the schedule might be getting a little bit easier. Florida State looks like they're not much this year. Like I said, we're going to see every team's best, and they spot our weaknesses. I mean, we got a couple guys in the secondary that are at the very bottom of their rankings as far as, you know, they rank every single cornerback and safety. I mean, it's not an exact science, but the big eye don't lie. You know, if you're not doing your job, you know, people are going to pick on you. And Cal had a couple great plays. I mean, the fake flanker screen bomb was great. The 4th and 1 play was great. They spotted some weaknesses. Give them credit. Cal might be the only team playing more exciting games than us. It seems like almost every one of their games goes down to the end. And when I turned on the TV, I had a feeling, I'm like, we're going to be up against it. The game day crowd was incredible. I've seen some really good – I'm not a big game day, you know, watching the pregame shows. But did you head over there? Did you see any of the
I didn't go over there. It was too damn early for me. But I watched it. I did wake up and watch it.
They must have had 7,000, 8,000 fans there and chanting, and
it was great.
I just expected them to be hanging from trees, you know, a couple people walking by, maybe, you know, 500, 1,000 people. But that's what college football is all about. So we are going to face teams best, and this is a contest against Louisville, who it's like their Super Bowl. If they win this game, their season is made. I mean, they can talk there. I do a couple shows in Louisville. They were talking about, you know, what happens if they go undefeated before they played Miami. I'm like, hold on. You're probably not going to be undefeated, and they're not. But if they win this game, it's a big selling tool. Everyone gets up for Miami. You know, it's It's crazy. No one says, "Oh, I'm getting up for Louisville," but I like the fact that there was a players only meeting, and we're going to see what happens. If we see the same all, we're in trouble. We're going to lose a game or two or three.
So Louisville, through the whole off season, had this game circled in their football office. Yeah. And they've put an enormous amount of time and effort into scouting Miami, looking at Lance Guidry, looking at Shannon Dawson. They figure Lee to come into this game very well prepared. It helps, I think, that they got the game at noon from the Miami standpoint. You could tell me how big of a factor a night game would have been at Louisville. But Miami, the line keeps drifting in Miami's favor. The money keeps coming in on the Canes. It started out, I think, at -3. Now it's 4.5, maybe even 5 in some places, but we'll use 4.5 for the purpose of our conversation here. Break this thing down from a betting perspective.
Okay, so I looked at Louisville's defense, and they had some weaknesses. If you run spread option against them, I think you can have a lot of success. And who can have a lot of success besides the running back? The quarterback. If Cam Ward is willing to run this game, and I mean carry the ball 6, 8, 10 times, I think he can hit on some big, big gainers. Let's see if Miami's willing to that. Their left end, Ashton Galati, number 9, really good pass rusher. He's the guy that kind of stirs the drink with them. He's like a Max Crosby. A lot of intensity. He's not as long and wiry. He's pretty thick, but he's got a motor on him. Big games, he seems to get up. We need to keep him. We need our right tackle to play at a very high level to keep him off the quarterback. Their offense is explosive. They're starting a true freshman running back, kid named Isaac Brown, number 25. He's gained 100 yards in 3 of the 6 games. They go 5 or 6 deep. I mean, so they got a lot of speed. He's not big. He's like 5'9", 180, but runs hard, hits holes. Kid's a budding superstar. And then they got 2 wide receiver, Colin Lacey, who was hurt right before the season started, and they said he'd be out 6 to 8 weeks. He came back last week. He was a transfer from South Alabama. Really good wide receiver, number 5. And then they also got Ja'Cory Brooks, who Miami's familiar with. We recruited him. He went to Alabama first. So they can hit on some big plays. What they don't do is they don't expose their quarterback to run much. So we need to take advantage of that. He ran a lot when I think he started at Oregon. Then he went to Texas Tech 3 years each. He's a 7th-year player. Pretty good passer, but need to get after him. And games between these two teams have been high scoring. Last 3 games have averaged 76 points. Here's the thing. I love the players only meeting. I think we're going to know after the first quarter if Miami's probably going to win this game. They're just going to come out. If they dominate, they're up 7 to 10 points. I'll feel pretty good. If we're tied or losing, I'm going to be worried here. Miami 0-3 under Mario Cristobal. We talked about it before the year. Going into the year, he's 29, 42-3 as a head coach and as a spread record. He started off the year with 3 big wins. Now he's had a couple losses here. I think it's Louisville Super Bowl. This game scares me. I like Louisville. Hate to say it, 38-37, but I wouldn't be shocked if Miami wins the game. I'm not giving the game out to my clients.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very tough game from a betting standpoint. People, of course, always ask me about it. So I said I wouldn't go anywhere near this game. This figures to be Miami's toughest game of the season. We're all assuming Miami's going to go undefeated, right. Which is a very aggressive assumption. Obviously, in today's world of college football, you're only going to have a very small handful of undefeated teams at the end of the season.
I wouldn't say everyone assumes they're going to go undefeated. I mean, we still got Florida State will give us their best shot at Georgia Tech, and Who knows?
Syracuse.
Maybe it's Syracuse.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff has happened there.
Yeah, no, listen, nobody saw Virginia Tech and Cal coming the way they came. These teams are all, they're competitive and they have good coaches that put good game plans together. And Miami's always one that gets a lot of their attention through the whole year. And that makes a big difference as well. And the other aspect, Lee, is that this is a new Miami team with Cam Ward at quarterback. Well, now people have 6 games of film. And they kind of have a better feel for what Miami's doing offensively. So yes, I have always felt from the very beginning this would be the toughest game of the year, and I'm expecting nothing different on Saturday. You mentioned the aspect of Cam Ward running the ball. He did it masterfully up in Gainesville. Okay.
Yeah.
More
on scrambles, Gary. I'm talking about design runs.
Yeah,
there were some. There were some. Yeah.
And Shannon Dawson's got those in his offense. I mean, I can see what you're saying. I mean, I don't think they're looking to expose Cam Ward to a lot of hits, but it'll be interesting to see if he does incorporate some design runs for the quarterback.
Well, those defensive ends really crash. I mean, when you run that spread option, I mean, they go after the running back, and these are games that Louisville's been playing, against teams with not great running quarterbacks, and they have certainly not defended that well. I'm just saying something that I noticed.
So you're saying Louisville with the points, if you're better, maybe if you can get a teaser going, that might be even better.
You know what? I don't tease college football games. Well, here's why. The total is 61.5. The only time I really tease games is when totals are like 45 or less. Once in a while up to 47 or 48, because there's more random scores. There's higher scoring. If Miami comes to play, Miami can win the game by double digits. Louisville gets penalized a lot. They'll shoot themselves in the foot. We've seen in the past fighting amongst themselves. They just get frustrated. So, anything can happen. I just don't tease in college football. And I don't buy points. The only time I buy points is in the NFL, on or off the number 3.
Gotcha. Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting one. Yep. So Lee says Louisville with the points, not what obviously all the Miami fans want to hear, but we're here to give you the honest handicapping perspective on the game. All right, a couple other big games this weekend. Let's start out. Let's talk about Alabama. Hasn't been playing its best football, but they're -3 at Tennessee, which had all it could handle with the Gators last week. What's your read on that game?
So a couple of things really stand out. Alabama's defense has been not even less than stuff, been bad. I mean, downright poor last 3 games. They gave up 25 South Carolina, and South Carolina, which had done nothing on offense with Lenora Sellers, a guy that's really inaccurate passing quarterback, was in the game and came close to beating them. Before that, gave up 40 to Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt is much improved, but 40 against Vandy is poor. And then 34 against Georgia, and most of it came in second half. So they're vulnerable. The Tennessee offense, and boy, they had trouble throwing the ball. In fact, the last 2 games, their quarterback, Nico Lamaliaba, he has been 13 for 38. Gets 13 for 38 on passes 10 yards or farther downfield.
Wow.
They're having and early in the year,
they're NIL value, I'll tell you that, with those stats.
Yeah. So, I mean, 2 real big negatives staring you in the face. What might be the difference here? Home field. We've seen it, like, for instance, in Big Ten, teams traveling across country. Home field advantage. You got 100,000 fans in that stadium. Remember, 2 years ago, Tennessee won this game 52-49, one of the greatest games in college football of the last decade. So maybe that's a factor. I think Tennessee's getting some of the receivers back that were out or banged up. And then also Josh Heupel's been there a few years, and Alabama coaching staff, it's their first year, sometimes getting used to, the whole, schedule leading up to the game. They're still getting to know each other. Milroe's great. I mean, he keeps you in a lot of games, but this might be the game where he throws a couple interceptions and they're playing from behind. I'll take Tennessee here. Another upset, 26-24 I'll take the points.
Tennessee getting 3 points
Yeah.
is the pick there. It's funny. You talked about that 52-49 score.
Yeah.
And we didn't really talk. You mentioned the total of 61 in the Miami game. When the line makers put a total of as big as like 61, they're obviously expecting a lot of offense in the game. But what's the highest total that you've ever seen?
I've seen some in the 80s, high 70s, low 80s.
Yeah.
So what's crazy though is I think though that 5 of the last 6, it's either 1-5 or 0-5-1. The totals have gone under. So once you see, it's like a team that goes 5-0, 6-0 against the spread, eventually they're going to lose. And it's when we've seen, in the last 10 years, there's been some offenses like Oklahoma was scoring, Central Florida for a while. They start off great, and by the end of the year, you're like, what happened?
Well, Miami, you said, is what, 3-3 now against the spread?
Yeah.
This year? Yeah. All right. So let's look at the big game of the week. You got Texas at home against Georgia, -4.5. Maybe the game of the year in college football. It's right there with any of them, obviously. Yeah. What happens in Texas, Georgia?
So if it's anything like the Alabama game against Georgia or the game last week, Oregon against a very, very highly thought of Ohio State team, we're looking at a great game. So this is must-see college football on Saturday night. So Texas might be more talented. Texas might have the better college quarterback in Quinn Ewers. But Georgia has clearly played the better schedule. Listen to some of the teams Texas has faced this year. Colorado State, Texas San Antonio, who is horrible this year. I mean, they're an average FCS school. Louisiana Monroe, who's actually better than they normally are, but still one of the worst 10 to 15 teams in college football. A horrible Mississippi State team, and then Oklahoma, who was terrible this year. And they were without 5 of their top 6 receivers and playing a true freshman quarterback. Georgia's already beaten Clemson. Now, Clemson didn't look good in that game, but they won 34-3. They held Clemson to 188 total yards in that game. And they did go up to Alabama, and they were leading with a little over 2 minutes to go in the game, which is impressive to be down when you're down 28-0 here. I think I know what Georgia's best game looks like. And I like teams that have really good coaching staffs and also are playing with their backs against the wall. There's a chance they lose this game, they could be out of the playoffs. So maybe a little bit more on the line here. And what has Texas ever done? I know they went to Alabama last year and they won, but Alabama was not real good early in the season. What have they ever done in the last decade in a big game? To me, I think the pressure's on them here. And if you're looking for the passing of the torch in college football, Georgia passing it on to Texas here, I'm going to say don't take the bait. I like Georgia. I think they're the more desperate team, a little more battle-tested. I'll take them 30-24.
Interesting. All right. Well, big week for the Canes, big week for college football with Texas and Georgia. Lee, thank you so much for your input here. Tell us what's going on this week at Paramount Sports.
Well, everything, every sport. So basketball starts on Wednesday. You get that for the entire season, $9.97. Hockey started off well, $9.97. You want to get a combo pack of both of those two sports, $1,650. Football, you can try us out through the end of October. We call it Locktober, 2 weeks, $197. UFC, we won 3 straight cards there. And, baseball playoffs too. Who knows? Might have a Subway Series. Never know with the Yankees and Mets, or if not, Yankees and Dodgers. Can you imagine the amount of eyes that'll be on there? So great time with all the sports taking place. Check out the website and all the free videos, ParamountSports.com.
All right. You see the website down below. You see the phone number, 1-800-400-9741. All right, Lee, we'll see what happens this weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks so much, Gary.
For Lee Sterling, I'm Gary Furman. We'll see you next time, everybody.